Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's show. And if you're joining for the first time, this is part of our industry series for which we meet every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We review one vendor or the solution. And for today, we have another solution from the CRM portfolio, which is MailChimp. So we are going to have a lot of fun discussing that. And before we do that, we are going to start with everybody's intros. I am going to start with my quick intro. Sam Gupta, principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent ERP, CRM, and digital transformation consulting firm. On that note, Andy, do you want to go next?
Sure. Thank you, Sam, for inviting me. My name is Andy Pratico. I've been involved with ERP software for manufacturers all my life, which is a long, long time. And I worked all over North America. I worked with over 1,000 manufacturers. And in fact, I published a book on how to evaluate ERP software, but I've got a webinar tomorrow evening, actually, for the local ASCM chapter. So it should be a lot of fun. There's 50 people signed up so far, 55. So that should be fun.
Yeah, that's a large crowd, and Andy does a good job. So, guys, if you have not checked his webinars, do check those. On that note, Dave, do you want to go next?
Sure. Thanks, Sam. And I echo what Sam and Andy both said. Definitely want to check out Andy's webinar, or in this case, in-person event. Always a ton of great information about evaluating and selecting ERPs. My name's Dave Crysler. I own an operations-focused consultancy, working with leaders, helping them to optimize their operations. Done this for now more than 25 years already. Hard to believe, with this young-looking face, but that's true.
Well, after you retired from the music industry, you had to find something to do.
That's right. Thanks for having me, Sam. Always a great conversation, and looking forward to another good review here.
Yeah, Dave, and I'm always interested in finding out, where I can find your music or maybe dance. I mean, even better, I guess.
You never know. You might have to come over to TikTok and check it out. I'm just saying.
I need to ask ChatGPT. Now things are much easier to find, I guess, as long as you have shared your loyalty agreements. Okay, Shrestha, do you want to go next?
Yeah, thank you, Sam. Hi, everyone. My name is Shrestha Dash, and I'm part of the marketing team at Elevate IQ. And I'm super excited to be here today.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And if you're in the audience joining for the first time, make sure you guys post your questions, comments. We generally utilize them as part of our reviews. So always looking forward to the stories and comments. On that note, guys, I will start with the quick briefing here of MailChimp. And I don't know whether you guys are familiar. I'm pretty sure everybody probably use is MailChimp in some capacity, I guess. Andy, you don't care for marketing. I mean, people are already knocking your door for your sales office. You don't need marketing. I mean, your face is good enough to get all the
Wait a second. Who's turning into the comedian here, Sam?
I'm trying. I'm learning for you. I'm following your footsteps. So MailChimp is very, very popular, Andy. I mean, a lot of people use, individually as well.
Very, very well-known product. Yeah.
Yeah, just because there is a free version, for it as well. It's a very interesting play. And I don't know, Andy, whether you remember the Microsoft's discussion related to the whole marketing automation play. This would fall under the real marketing automation category. Okay, so the intent of this product is not necessarily being the customer data platform, which is very, very, very different product the way CDP are designed. Obviously, these products can outgrow and combine some of the CDP's capabilities as well. In the future, but for now, it's very marketing automation. Everybody's trying to get the omni-channel capabilities. Even MailChimp is trying to get omni-channel capabilities. But for the most part, there are very exciting developments even in the MailChimp portfolio. So obviously, we are going to review all of that. If you guys have any comments, experiences using this product, if you want to share those comments. Anybody? If not, I can keep going here.
I haven't used it before. I've used similar products, but not this one.
Okay. Dave, Shrestha, no? Okay. I'll keep going here. All right. So overall positioning, I would say, so there's a clear divide in the market, and I'll touch more from the CRM bucket perspective. So number one is the whole debate between CDP and marketing automation. Now that has become a very prominent debate, I would say, in the enterprise software industry. But these two are completely different product. They are designed for very different activities in general. So now let's touch this more from the CRM, portfolio design perspective, right? So we always touch that CRM has 2 or 3 different buckets. Some are going to be slightly more siloed, and they are trying to form slightly more external alliances than developing these capabilities internally. So MailChimp, the whole intent was more of the marketing automation. You are going to find marketing automation piece inside your HubSpots of the world or Salesforces of the world. Every company is going to have some sort of flavor of marketing automation inside their product if they have CRM offering as part of their portfolio. MailChimp, I would say, is known a lot more in the B2C communities. It's going to be commerce communities. They have humongous alignment with QuickBooks because obviously it is owned by Intuit now. I don't know whether you know this or not. And Intuit, if you look at their product portfolio, they have very consumerized business offering. They have offerings for consumers, individuals. They also have offerings for very small businesses, which is going to be your QuickBooks, TurboTaxes of the world. Now, lately, QuickBooks has also had very strong and tight alignment with players such as your Shopify, because Shopify was also very consumerized. So now going forward, I think Shopify, MailChimp, and your QuickBooks, they have very tight alliance in general. So that's why you are going to find a lot more presence in the kind of integrations that you're going to find in MailChimp's portfolio, in QuickBooks portfolio, as well as in Shopify portfolio. They all are going to be very well aligned in general. And you are going to find the layers of this alignment across the board, whether you are looking at the logos inside MailChimp portfolio, or you are looking at their R&D investment, or the investors that are investing in the portfolio. So the alignment is going to be across the board. It's one of the oldest marketing automation product, I would say. We are going to check their date as well. They started somewhere around the same time when Salesforce started. At that time, marketing automation did not even exist. 90% of the marketing automation products, the way they started, they all started as more of the email automation tool.
Yeah.
That's how they all started. Hey, let me allow you to send bulk emails to a lot of prospects. Great idea. But now in 2024, emails are not as easy, I would say. But in their space, it's still going to be good because, people who care for coupons and discounts and promos, and that's going to be your B2C space, women buyers, very common, I would say. So those are the ones that are going to really care for these emails, and that's where they are going to get a lot of engagements. So email does matter in this space, and that's why MailChimp is so successful in general. Competing technologies overall, from the CRM perspective, you're going to find Salesforce, HubSpot. But if you go to Salesforce, HubSpot, the way their data model is designed, they don't necessarily compete in the B2C space. They don't do a lot of business in the B2C space. For the most part, their products, they are very much into B2B space. There are going to be some logos where they might target for B2C, but for the most part, their products are designed for primarily B2B.
Would another competitor be Marketo?
They have a lot of presence in B2C space, so you might be right. Marketo is the enterprise product, I would say.
Okay.
Marketo is not supposed to be. Marketo also has a lot of penetration in the SaaS space, I would say. And the reason for that is because Marketo is aligned with the design community, marketing community. So anything that is going to be positioned to designers, media centric industries as well, because they are very design heavy too. That's where you are going to find Marketo a lot. Then I would say the bigger competitor right now is probably going to be something like Fresh Sales. Zendesk has a product, for the CRM as well, but they don't necessarily have the real marketing automation product. Okay, they might call their CRM and say, "Hey, I've got all of these capabilities." Everybody has every capability in the world, right? But if you look at the true marketing automation capabilities, they don't necessarily have that. It's MailChimp, which is probably one of the larger market share, I would say. And just to be clear, MailChimp is not meant to be a CRM. MailChimp is also going to claim that, hey, I'm CRM too. but, but they are not necessarily CRM. Again, it's meant to be more of the marketing automation. Okay.
So it's mostly feeding popular CRM systems, right?
You need to sit on top of other CRM systems if you are going to maintain sales pipeline territory, the operational workflows from the customer experience perspective, from the sales perspective. The data model, the interactions are going to be very, 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 very different. I would say, inside the core CRM, the marketing automation is very different in general. Okay, and that's why systems such as HubSpot, and sometimes, if you see, there is a little conflict between how the marketing automation products work versus how CRM products work. Okay, you are never going to find one product that can do it all, but then you need one product so that you have the end-to-end traceability from your omni-channel traceability perspective. But inherently speaking, if you look at, let's say, HubSpot started as more of the marketing automation product, but now they have a much deeper CRM capabilities as well, but the CRM product is not as effective, just because of this the alignment just does not work. So that's why Salesforce took a very different strategy. Pardot portfolio is still very different. Now they are trying to create a data layer on top of your CRM plus your marketing automation, but they don't have the same traceability that you are going to find inside HubSpot. So I don't know, how to make these decisions, to be completely honest. You get one thing, whether you are going to get the traceability or you are going to get the best of breed experience from the marketing automation, or the CRM workflow perspective. If I were to design any architecture, I would keep marketing automation slightly separately from CRM. The reason for that is because marketing automation does not need to be tightly aligned with your CRM product. You can still very well integrate and get all of the capabilities that you're going to require. So I still agree with kind of Salesforce strategy, I would say. But then Salesforce does not necessarily have a real CMS baked as part of the product. So any sort of website integration is going to be hard, with the Salesforce architecture. And that's where MailChimp is going to be slightly easier, I would say, if you care for those web interactions, combining web interactions with your email interactions, marrying them together, and then obviously SMS, which is going to be big in the e-commerce space, B2C spaces. So that's why MailChimp is so powerful, because they have all of those capabilities, at least now. Okay, so Zendesk CRM is going to be a closer competitor, but their CRM product is very lean. Their marketing automation product, I would not say they have a marketing automation product. They barely have a CRM product. The real marketing automation product, if you really think about it, ActiveCampaign is probably going to be the right product, I would say, that is going to be comparable to this. But they are also comparable to your HubSpot. Overall, the bigger differences that you're going to find in the marketing automation community is going to be in the way these companies price, and their price could be extremely, extremely tricky. MailChimp is free to begin with, but it gets very expensive as you move up the value chain. So pricing is one of the factors across these product types. So make sure you understand their contracts as well. Sometimes they could get very complicated, and you could have surprised licensing and pricing. The more closer competitors, I would say, is probably going to be Constant Contact, which has leaner offering from the marketing automation perspective. Their designer is not going to be as great as your MailChimp. MailChimp is known for ease of use. Mailer is another leaner product, I would say. I don't think they have as many installations, but that is definitely known overall in the communities that might find MailChimp pricing slightly more expensive. They would go for something like Mailer. Now, Klaviyo is very well known in the Shopify ecosystem. It does very, very well in the Shopify ecosystem. The people who do not like MailChimp and sometimes they are going to outgrow MailChimp because MailChimp is probably not going to support as many journeys, from the email automation perspective. That's when they move to Klaviyo. Sometimes they find Klaviyo to be slightly easier to use just because the data model may be flatter compared to MailChimp. MailChimp is trying to, go after larger customers, slightly more complex deals. So naturally, their data model is going to be complex. So that's why Klaviyo is far more popular right now in the Shopify ecosystem. Brevo is another one which is very hot at this point of time in the Shopify ecosystem, I would say, and they position themselves as more of the design for B2C, but they are probably going to have some capabilities for the CDP as well. Sometimes they are positioning themselves as CDP too. So sometimes companies think that you don't have a real CRM inside your B2C verticals, and the only CRM you have is probably going to be something like CDP, and sometimes they are going to have flavors of loyalty, loyalty cards, etc. So that you are sort of incorporating a lot of POS workflow, the point of sale systems inside your CRM. So I don't know where you draw the line between these things, but obviously everybody has their own sort of differentiators and the capabilities depending upon the architecture that you want to build, etc. But MailChimp is going to be, if you're looking for slightly more easier to use, system that has some omni-channel traceability, I would say, then probably MailChimp is probably going to be the right fit. If you are in the Shopify ecosystem, you are in the QuickBooks ecosystem, you are going to find far more alignment, in getting the pre-built journeys, in getting the pre-built integrations that might not be available with a lot of these tools. The other aspect is AI agent that we are going to touch in detail during the course of the presentation. You are going to find a lot more automated AI agents or automated journeys, and you are going to find a real use cases for AI. And these guys are doing a wonderful job. Obviously, they are funded by Intuit, and they paid $4 billion for this acquisition. So, they have a lot of money in their pockets that smaller vendors cannot match. Overall, from the industry perspective, I would say e-commerce, retail, startups, agencies, and freelancers, probably these are the most common industries where you're going to find MailChimp. If they are going to be slightly more operationally complex from the data model perspective, from the customer master perspective, you are not going to find as many logos. If you guys have any questions, comments, I can take those, or I can keep going here. Okay, so these are some of these screenshots, based on the developments in their portfolio. So this one is coming from 2019, and we are going to touch these chronologically in terms of the timeline. So we are going back roughly 5 years back. So in 2019, one comment here, overall their date for the origination, I guess they started somewhere in 2001. Salesforce started in 1999. So I don't know who was the pioneer of the marketing automation category, but they were definitely one of the first ones. So right now they are positioning themselves as more of the all-in-one marketing platform. I mean, all-in-one could mean a lot of different things, but they definitely have a lot of omni-channel capabilities at this point of time, especially for B2C customers. I don't know if anybody else is going to be okay when you are starting. We as a company is on MailChimp. Just to be clear, and right now we are okay, but as our needs grow, we will not be able to handle the kind of workflows that we are going to require, and MailChimp gets very expensive. So I'm probably the user as well here. Some more things here. MailChimp also plans to maintain. So this is the reaction commerce comment. So they have acquired many different companies. Let's touch on this comment first, and I'm going to come back to your reaction commerce later, because that's the second acquisition that they have done. So this was in 2001 that they had started, and then they are talking about, so we built an all-in-one marketing platform to empower small businesses to connect with their audiences and create the customer love that's needed to grow. Very marketing-like language, which is wonderful. But I think it's very e-commerce language is what I'm sensing here in my mind. So for more than 2 years, they are talking about, we have been adding new features like landing pages. There was a time, Andy, I don't know how much you remember, but there were a lot of products in the market. They were designed only for landing pages. The only thing that they did is, hey, I'll design landing pages, and they had one of the most beautiful landing pages, to be completely honest. Okay, the traditional marketing automation platforms did not have capabilities to be able to develop these landing pages, but then they all evolved. I don't know if those landing pages companies are still there or they got acquired and became a feature inside marketing automation products, but overall, now 90% of the marketing automation products, they have some sort of landing pages. They might not be as pretty, you might not have as many features. Once you want to design very complex landing pages, then you might not be able to do that, but MailChimp is decent, I would say. Decent. Facebook ads, they also try to have this whole the ads perspective, omni-channel traceability. I don't know how many companies use this, to be completely honest, because sometimes there could be integration issues. But if you are going to use that, then only you are going to get the omni-channel traceability. But again, the MailChimp is probably not going to be your centralized view of your customer, because you are probably going to have a CDP, you are going to have Shopify, which is also carrying the customer instances or the representation, and then you are also going to have CRM, so you already have 4 data silos. So I don't know how that is the centralized omni-channel traceability, but sure, if you keep all of your marketing channels at one place, at least you are going to get some traceability there. And hopefully you are able to correlate in 90% of the marketing automation products the way they are designed. Email is probably going to be the best representation of the customer. When you get into the B2B spaces, the customer is very different, because customer may have 5 different layers of how the customer is represented. And if you are looking for customer 360, I don't know how to design that. And that's where you have the real conflict between your CRM systems as well as your marketing automation systems. ERP is going to have even more complex customer master, because legal representation of company is very different from your communication aspect of customer. You have different regulations, different compliance issues, different privacy preferences, subscription preferences. So marketing cares for all of that. Marketing does not care for the legality of the customer, because the dollars are not involved just yet. Then we have our marketing CRM tools that have become the heart of the MailChimp platform. That's what they are saying here. And then some more comments related to this acquisition, which is the Sava acquisition. And Sava acquisition was very similar to Canva. My understanding would be that maybe they got their editor from here, because their editor is kind of cool. Initially, they didn't have the landing pages capabilities, the design capabilities. So maybe they got these capabilities from there. In general, when you look at all of these marketing tools, they are relatively easier, I would say, to integrate. The reason for that is because you don't have as tight data model the way your supply chain systems are going to be, the way your ERP systems are going to be. Even some of the operational CRM systems could have very complex data models. In general, for marketing, you don't require any sort of connectivity from the database perspective, just because you don't have the traceability involved, the accounting involved, the dollars involved, and that's why it's okay to be wild west, I guess. You don't need to have as many rules in the world of marketing. So that's why sometimes the integration is far easier. The acquisition is much easier as well. So here they are talking about Sava acquisition. Looks like very similar to Canva. That's my understanding. And then they are talking about MailChimp, leading marketing platform for small business. Is happy to share that we have acquired Atlanta-based Sava. Sava was the company. Is an automated graphic design platform. Again, the pitch is very similar to your Canva, in my understanding. And they are saying that it assembles its customers' photos, logos, and copy into design assets that adhere to their brand standards. So again, I think this is going to be more of the digital asset management capabilities, jam capabilities, where you have the file storage. You are keeping all of these assets. They don't necessarily have any sort of workflows or the approval processes that you are going to have in slightly enterprise systems. But this is the basic file storage, and that's what they acquired. They didn't have even those capabilities. Can you believe this? And obviously, they became a feature inside MailChimp. So it's a very tiny app. Then they are talking about this one. So I'm coming back to your Reaction Commerce acquisition. So Reaction Commerce was the open source acquisition. So I believe this is probably somewhere in 2022, and we are going to check the date for their acquisition as well. I don't know when they started moving into the commerce space, but they were moving aggressively, as evident from this acquisition. They are saying offering for enterprise retailers and developers to customize. Reaction Commerce is an open source e-commerce solution, and I think they have gone back and forth in terms of keeping it open source versus keeping it closed. Right now I believe it's open source, but they may have changed. So because things are always changing in the enterprise software ecosystem. So that's pretty much it. I'll move to the next one. Here they are talking about one more acquisition called Big Team, and Big Team is the feedback management platform for small businesses, startups, entrepreneurs, and growing brands to continue improving our survey tools and marketing. And I don't know, one thing that we have not touched so far is the technologies such as SurveyMonkey, and I don't know whether you guys are familiar with SurveyMonkey. SurveyMonkey and MailChimp, I mean, they probably had very similar valuation. They were very similar products in my mind, but they were used for very different use cases. SurveyMonkey was more used with the employee survey, customer service, customer experience. And sometimes the reason why these products exist is because there is organizational divide in general. Okay, marketing does not necessarily talk to customer service. Customer service does not talk to marketing. They have their own budgets, funding. If marketing is going to propose something, customer service is not going to approve, and that's why you have all of these product category, because enterprise software community is trying to exploit the weaknesses of companies. If you are divided, I'm going to create categories that are going to be divided. So this is all driven from the sales and marketing perspective, and that's why you have very similar product, but they are adopted for very different use cases. And that's why you have SurveyMonkey. But this feature, for example, let's say if you look at Big Team, it might sound very similar, but this feedback management platform is probably more from the customer perspective in terms of their, okay, if you have any sort of feedback, give it to me. I'll have some sort of survey after my post purchase. But this is mainly for slightly more consumerized spaces.
So is SurveyMonkey any way affiliated with MailChimp, or just by coincidence they have similar names?
I was thinking that, Andy, your comment was going to be SurveyMonkey affiliated with any of the monkeys. But no, they don't have any affiliation. They don't have any affiliation, Andy. So they are two completely different products. I don't think there were a lot of conversations around SurveyMonkey's acquisitions as well. I don't know who ended up acquiring them. Dave is doing research, I know, right now. Please tell me where they are, but I don't think I think they are independent.
Yeah, Symphony Technology Group acquired them in May of 2023. Acquisition valued at 1.5 billion with a B.
Yeah. And Symphony Technology Group, and that must be the private equity, right?
Yeah.
And what do they have in their portfolio, I guess?
Didn't get that far yet. But
Okay,
because I thought at one point there was some conversation around MailChimp acquiring them. So I don't think you're too far off from that, Andy. I think there was some conversation from what I recall around that.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look.
Yeah. So yeah, Dave, please report. Please report once you are done with your research. And guys, Andy, Shrestha, if you guys want to do research, please keep reporting. If you find anything, then obviously these insights are great. Okay. So here we have one more acquisition. By the way, these are very recent acquisitions, guys. This has happened probably somewhere around Intuit acquisition, because obviously everybody in the enterprise software market, they are trying to increase their market share because they have to justify their price tag. And MailChimp price tag, as far as my understanding goes, was $4 billion with a B. It's a big deal, guys. They have a lot of customers, no questions there, and they all are paying, which is wonderful. And obviously it's going to help Intuit, which probably has the whole world, I guess, right now. So I don't know if they need additional customers, but this is definitely great because, number one, they are able to increase their deal size, plus I guess geographic penetration as well. Dave, go.
Yeah, it looks like a couple of notable names. They have a large portfolio, but Fishbowl and Reich are a couple of the big ones in there. So really interesting.
Interesting. And are those? Are you able to see if they are active right now, or
it looks like both of those are active? They do have a list of their exits. And I don't see anything too noteworthy there. But yeah, Reich and Fishbowl I thought were interesting.
Okay, so just to be clear, Fishbowl is QuickBooks' inventory solution, which is quite debatable how much inventory they can handle.
Well, yeah, but Fishbowl has done very well living off of QuickBooks coattails.
Yes. Where is Sin7? Is Sin7 part of their portfolio as well, Dave? Or, I mean, they must be...
Say that again, Sam?
Sin7. Sin7. CIN7, number 7.
Let me see.
Yeah, they are doing really well as well. Obviously, they are claiming that they are ERP2. Fishbowl is claiming that they are ERP2.
Yeah, I don't see that. The other name that caught my eye was reading into this. It's e-productivity software. And this is more of in the print and packaging space, positioning themselves as, some sort of a MIS, ERP, e-com, but specific within that industry, within print and packaging. So yeah, pretty interesting though.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that Constellation could not get to them because they are keeping the entire industry verticalized software at this point of time. So very interesting. So some things Symphony is holding too. So obviously the reason why they have Fishbowl and SurveyMonkey, and I don't know if SurveyMonkey maybe in slightly more B2B space. Reich is very tech SaaS, space. Reich is supposed to be for that. So I don't know how their portfolio is constructed and how good they are in constructing their portfolio, I guess. Sometimes private equity could be all over the place as well. They don't know what they are doing. Some companies are really good, but not everyone. Okay. So here, some more acquisitions. Here they are talking about MailChimp is proud to announce that we have acquired Inspector 6 and artificial intelligence, and everybody has to have artificial intelligence. These guys are doing a wonderful job, in accommodating those technologies as well. Platform that analyzes brands' marketing content and delivers insights, changes, and recommendations to help our small business customers create more effective marketing content. And in this particular case, I can see some value here, to be completely honest, because 90% of these marketers that are going to be on MailChimp platform, they are not very savvy. They are not very savvy overall. Let's say if you write an email, me included, I don't know how good I am going to be in writing the email. So I need some sort of feedback, in terms of how my subject line is. And obviously MailChimp is going to have data from many, many, many different users and companies. So they are trying to find out, okay, which lines are going to work, which don't work. Now, that insight could be all over the place, to be completely honest. That's not very meaningful, but at least you get some feedback, from the AI perspective. So that's a very interesting acquisition. We have one more coming from 2021, and they are saying MailChimp has acquired, what is this? Chatitive Incorporation? Chatitive, yeah. I think the whole idea is probably chat. That's where the word is coming from, and that they are two-way SMS marketing platform that uses context to deliver personalized and conversational mobile messages. Now, if you look at the omnichannel traceability, combining WhatsApp, which is a big deal in the e-commerce space. Okay, not many marketing automation platforms are going to have WhatsApp integration, and that's literally a deal breaker. In the e-commerce communities these days, because you need to have WhatsApp integration. There are like humongous number of people that are hanging out on WhatsApp, and if you don't have that, people don't like that. Email has become really hard, so SMS is becoming very strong channel, but SMS is going to change as well. Okay, they have announced TCR compliance, and TCR compliance is far worse than your email. So just because of these AI spams, deep fakes, there are so many things that are happening. So SMS channel is going to become equally hard, even though as of today you might get some traction from the SMS channels. And that's why probably WhatsApp is probably better channel in general for targeting. So this is a very interesting acquisition as well. Overall, from the platform capability perspective, I don't know how many companies have true SMS capabilities, and that also extends to some of the use cases such as emergency communication, use cases. Sometimes that is useful for industries that are going to use the marketing automation platform just to engage with their citizen, tenants, neighbors, etc. And sometimes they need to announce that there is hurricane coming, or whatever a threat might be, and sometimes that is used for that as well. But that's a very different regulation that generally goes through telco integrations. There are a lot of compliance issues there, so you're not going to find all of that. You probably need to find a best of breed solution for that. So you have that complications as well. 90% of the marketing automation platforms are probably not going to have any sort of emergency communication capabilities, from the operations perspective. And Dave, you might be able to relate, with this from the facility management perspective. 90% of the facility would require some sort of emergency communication, because I don't know if that is mandated by OSHA, but that is definitely there. So that is there. And if you're going to have a lot of partners with whom you're engaging, communicating, then you are probably going to have a lot more need there. So that's also very interesting need. But very interesting acquisition. Everybody's trying to become omnichannel. So MailChimp is doing that as well. Now, this is the news coming from your Intuit. They acquired, and in their portfolio, they have TurboTax, which is the tax software, primarily for individuals and very, very, very small businesses. And then they have QuickBooks. Mint was the financial management platform for individual, just the pure expense planning for individuals. So Intuit was always consumerized. They tried to get into ERP space back in the days. I think Exact tried to do that as well, but then they learned that ERP space is very different, and they need to be in slightly more consumerized space. Sage is still all over the place. Their primary target market is very accounting software. They have some ERP portfolio, but again, their primary product is very accounting software. It's not ERP. And then Credit Karma, the reason why they have that is because that's where you are going to get a lot of consumer data that you can target and sell QuickBooks and MailChimp. So, that's why you have Credit Karma as well. Then the planned acquisition of MailChimp for approximately $12 billion. Can you believe this, guys? 12 billion with a B. Somebody is paying the price tag for this. Okay, and that's you. Global customers reach with 1 in 3 million total users globally, 2.4 million monthly active users, and 800,000 paid customers, with 50% of the customers outside of the US. That's mind-blowing. I didn't realize that QuickBooks was so penetrated outside of the US. In some countries, it's not going to be possible, to be completely honest, because their accounting is very different. Their taxation is very different. Talk about countries like, India, Brazil, Mexico, a lot of European countries. It's not going to work. And that's why you have very specialized software in those countries. So I'm shocked that they have such major presence outside of the US.
They've probably increased their footprint outside the U.S. after Intuit acquired them, I would assume.
I don't think that is true, Andy, because this is the commentary coming at the time of acquisition, and I think Intuit acquired them because they actually wanted to go global. That would be my understanding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because honestly speaking, from their perspective, they didn't have companies such as Xero had far more market share outside of the US. Because they started in Australia. Australia is a very small market. So they had to develop products for many different countries. Even in Canada, Xero has much higher penetration, I would say, than in the US. Okay. So, but QuickBooks was always sort of the US product. There were other products such as, from Exact. They were doing a lot more business in Europe, I don't know if they are still doing today. I don't know where they are, but they seem to be following very similar strategy as your QuickBooks and Xero. So Andy, my understanding is that MailChimp already had these customers, and the reason why it is easier for marketing products than for the accounting products is because marketing products does not need to comply with the taxation. They don't go through as many changes. I mean, email marketing is email marketing, whether you are doing
That
email
makes
marketing
sense.
in the US or
Of
in
course, that
Africa.
makes sense.
But
Yep.
accounting and taxation is very different. Yeah. Okay. Data and technology in the form of 70 billion contacts. Now, somebody is looking at that and they are thinking that, hey, that's gold for AI. But I don't know how legal that is to really get into all of those contacts and get the insights or whatever. But this is pure gold, guys. From the AI perspective, they are talking about 70 billion contacts. 250 plus rich partner integration, which is great. And then AI powered automation at scale fuels 2.2 million daily AI driven predictions. And for email marketing software, that is a big deal, guys. So they are able to do a lot there, to be completely honest, which is massive. I don't have anything else here. I'll touch on one of the comments that we have from Anders. So Anders is saying the email plus SMS play is interesting. Similarly, Twilio, originally SMS, acquired SendGrid, which was email. This multi-method communication integration seems to be powerful types of ecosystem. So I'll touch on that. And guys, if you have any sort of background on that, you can probably touch as well. So overall, in my mind, I think Twilio was a very technical platform. It was not designed for business users. The same thing goes for SendGrid as well. SendGrid was never easy, to be completely honest. Okay, and that was more of the back end for a lot of these companies. For example, even MailChimp is going to use some sort of platform underneath. I don't know whether they use, SendGrid, Twilio, or somebody else. But the 90% of the for example, the email communication or the SMS communication is powered by one of the technical platforms, because not everybody is going to have alignment with these telcos and integrations, and it's a nightmare. Integrating with all of those carriers, it's not easy. That's where I guess Twilio was very strong. So I don't know if it is a fair comparison. I would say Anders, even though they are trying. I mean, they are more of the API-centered business in my mind, if you look at Twilio as well as SendGrid. But I have seen some marketers being excited about SendGrid just because they have a lot more control. But that's a very technical product. It's not a fair comparison. Okay, I'll keep going here. Here we have some more comments. MailChimp is excited to announce that we have partnered with Shopify. And guys, again, this is going, with time. So this Shopify alignment is coming after the Intuit acquisition. And Intuit actually has made a lot of changes overall in their corporate strategy as well, to align with players like Shopify. Because what Shopify wanted to do is they wanted to go full stack. Okay, that's why they had acquired a supply chain platform. I don't remember the name of that. Do you guys remember by any chance? Shopify had acquired, what is the name? There was the whole 3PL play and the supply chain platform. So they actually wanted to go full stack, but then they learned their lesson and they, spun off that offering. So now Shopify is trying to build alliances that are far more powerful than going full stack, and own your own in general. So right now, what has happened in the Intuit portfolio is Intuit they have sort of decommissioned their desktop POS product. Okay, they used to have, I don't know how many people know this or not, but they used to have a desktop POS product. Okay, we have a news story coming from there as well. So now they are saying that Shopify, you deal with commerce, issues. That's not my strength. I'm going to deal with, and I'm actually shocked that Shopify is letting them have the email marketing piece, which should have belonged to Shopify's portfolio, because sales and marketing is their deal. But now the portfolio is sort of all over the place, that these guys have MailChimp, but then they are aligned with Shopify. So it's very interesting play overall. Intuit is taking very different strategy compared to your FreshBooks, which seems to be directly competing with, probably players like Shopify. So that's where the power is coming from, and that's why Intuit is far more powerful. Even Shopify is far more powerful because QuickBooks has the strongest market share. MailChimp probably have the strongest market share from the marketing automation perspective in the commerce community. And now you combine Shopify, it's a humongous alliance. And that's why you are going to find a lot more integrations across these 3 product categories. So if you are making a decision on selection of a platform and you are e-commerce, if you choose Shopify, blindly you should be choosing MailChimp as well as QuickBooks, because they all are going to be aligned. If you pick and choose 3 different products from 3 different portfolios, you're going to have fun. Okay. Here they are talking about, we are also excited to share that we have acquired the SharpSync app. And this is the integration. So there is a lot of consolidation happening that you might not even understand what is happening here. But these companies are trying to acquire as many touch points, integrations as possible. Most of them are, ISVs. So now, obviously, this is a very monopolistic play that they are controlling pretty much everything, right? So they are going to acquire pretty much every single integration out there, and now they are able to sell that as part of the core product. Obviously, you are going to have very little control in the architecture, and that's what they have done here. So this whole SharpSync app was the communication with Shopify. So now Intuit owns integration, Intuit owns marketing automation, Intuit also owns taxes, Intuit owns accounting, which is, they have a lot of power in the game. Okay. So that's pretty much it for this story. Now, as part of the same incident on April 2, this is the security incident happened, guys. And I don't know whether you guys noticed this or not. MailChimp has introduced the 2-factor authentication as part of their platform as well. And I was like, okay, why do you need 2-factor authentication for MailChimp? I don't need that. But you can cause a lot of damage even with MailChimp. And now email is tricky because literally what you can do is you can blast your customers up fishy email and you can get their account number. It's that bad. So even marketing automation, you require security, but when you embed security as part of the platform, it becomes difficult to use. So you get one thing, okay? Either you get ease of use or you get security. You decide what you want. So, this was with MailChimp that, somebody tried to do the phishing email. It was crazy times, but again, initially MailChimp did not have these regulations, but then they had to embed as well because, things are becoming crazy these days. You never know who's attacking whom. Now, in 2023, this is another, acquisition. Intuit MailChimp launches Campaign Manager and webhooks. Can you believe that? They did not have webhooks before. So it was a fairly lean SaaS platform, but now they are going after the integration, and this came after Intuit acquisition. Obviously, they know what they are doing, and that's why they have introduced. So now you are going to see a lot more integrations in general, with MailChimp as well. And that would be why now they are able to integrate this fast with a lot of different alliances. I don't have anything else here. I'll keep going. Unless you guys have any other comment. Here they are talking about, this is the Shopify announcement. So they are saying it's teaming up with Shopify to help MailChimp and QuickBooks desktop customers. QuickBooks desktop is being decommissioned. QuickBooks desktop POS is being decommissioned, as well as QuickBooks desktop is also being decommissioned. So now it's all going to be SaaS. So if you're still on QuickBooks desktop, obviously you need to find some plan, but again, you are not going to get the same capabilities that you had in your QuickBooks desktop because QuickBooks was not making any money, all of that. So that's why they are trying to remove all of those capabilities. The architecture was all over the place. So QuickBooks Online is going to be leaner, much leaner than what you were used to in the QuickBooks desktop. Fishbowl could work in the QuickBooks desktop space, but not with online. You are going to have a lot of challenges and fun. So again, in cloud, regardless of how lean the offerings are going to be, the architecture is going to be very, 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 very different. Here they are saying Shopify will become the preferred POS migration partner, for QuickBooks. So there is preferred, so all of the customers that are going to come to Shopify, they are going to, Shopify is actually getting all of these customers. So Shopify is getting a lot of business from Intuit, and Intuit is getting a lot of business from Shopify as well. So that's why you have that alignment. And Intuit, after Intuit sunsets QuickBooks, desktop POS later this year, and they are shutting down anything that competes with Shopify because they need to have friendly alliance there. Okay, these are some of the capabilities that you're going to find inside your marketing automation software. Things such as your automations, segmentation. So segmentation is going to be more of the customer grouping. Automation is going to be you have these journeys, whether those journeys are going to be triggered by email or any time-based points, or it is going to be triggered by any sort of website. But in this particular case, the biggest alignment that you're going to find, especially if you're going to use, let's say, Shopify plus MailChimp plus your QuickBooks, is any triggers that are happening inside Shopify. Now MailChimp can capture, blast the email and then probably update the status inside Shopify as well. That's the power of webhooks. Those are the kind of automations that you're getting. But again, these triggers are very event based, so they become very clouded, very chaotic and confusing. Once you have too many, but you at least can get started on that, and that's what marketers really love. Customer journeys are going to be really branch of automations. It's very similar whether these are going to be content driven journeys or these are going to be any sort of triggers that are happening on the website. Whatever they can track, they are doing that. Abandoned cart emails, abandonment is happening inside Shopify, and MailChimp is able to capture that, and they are able to send all of these emails. When the customers are going to get these emails, they might click on the emails, come back to Shopify. So there's a lot of alignment happening, even though these are two completely different products, as well as the databases. And in marketing world, it's just easier to build these integrations. It might not be as easy in the operational world, as well as the financial world. Then they have one more partnership with Wix.com, and Wix.com is probably one of the largest market share overall from the CMS perspective, as well as from the e-commerce perspective as well, especially in the smaller patches. Wix.com was very successful, so that's a major alignment, I would say. So they are going with Shopify, but they are also going after Wix. I don't think Shopify would consider Wix as their competitor. Wix's competitor is going to be somebody like what is that? Squarespace, right? Squarespace. If I'm getting the name right, yeah. So they are probably going to be GoDaddy. Probably is going to be another competitor, but GoDaddy offerings are very lean in general. They are very, very, very lean. Okay, I don't have anything else here. Yeah, so Intuit Assist, I think that is the last point that I can probably touch on this one. So these are going to be generative AI offerings, and these generative AI offerings are really powerful, guys. You might not understand how they are baked and what you are seeing inside your MailChimp platform, but the kind of journeys that we have seen are phenomenal. So this is where the power of AI is going to be. You might not notice that, but these platforms are going to become extremely powerful, because of all of these automated journeys. Some of the screenshots and some comments here on those screenshots. So here I'm talking about the beauty of Shopify integration, omnichannel touchpoints at various intersections within customer journey. So here, you are talking about contact abandoncy cart. Most likely they are probably going to abandon inside your Shopify, but then MailChimp is able to capture that interaction and able to perform some action with time delay, etc. That's what is happening here. The time-based triggers are going to be very similar as well. Let's say if you want to mimic the whole journey, the way you would prospect your customer, the way you would follow up, you can probably do a lot of that inside MailChimp, and that's where the power is of the whole marketing automation workflows as well as the tools. The campaigns, they have campaigns. Obviously, you can design very complex campaigns, but again, you need to understand the pricing. The pricing could be very expensive at times, so you need to understand that. And sometimes some of the features, such as your, let's say, if you're going to look at audiences, they have audiences as part of MailChimp. Generally, audiences are going to have different subscription preferences. Audiences are designed for different topics that you might be sending. For example, let's say if you have two different departments or two different communication channels, one could be related to, I don't know, maybe you have two different businesses. One is your print and one is your packaging. The print customers do not necessarily overlap with your packaging customers, and you are trying to send them communication using your MailChimp, and you need to have the audiences, since you don't want to have overlap. But from the reporting perspective, you want to have overlap. That's where your audience is going to be really handy feature. But then if your contact is going to be present in 2 different audiences, they are going to double charge you, for the number of contacts. So that's where the licensing is really tricky from the marketing automation perspective. But then they have some advanced features at least. Not as many layers as you are going to find in the enterprise products. Okay. Do you guys have comment? We just have 4 minutes. I don't know. I don't know if you can cover one more slide.
Yeah, let's like one more slide.
Yeah, these are different journeys, I guess I would say, that you can attack. So there are many different things that you can do. And in this particular case, you don't necessarily require any sort of developers. And that's what marketers love, that they can do these journeys on their own. And that's why they are able to pay for these platforms. That's the power of Intuit. But again, once you are going to have the customer master, that is going to be slightly more complex, or you require slightly more complex journeys, that's where you would require a lot of hand holding in general. And email is very disruptive, from the company's perspective. You might jeopardize your domain reputation. It's really tricky these days, even just with one campaign. So you need to know what you are doing with the email campaigns as well. So be super careful. So I'll pause there. I don't know if I have any other comments here. I'll open up for comments from you guys.
Well, I learned a lot today. MailChimp does a heck of a lot more than I ever imagined from the last time I've reviewed it. Obviously being competitor to HubSpot and Constant Contact, that's hand in glove, but they do a heck of a lot more than that.
I would not say they are competitor of HubSpot. That's probably a stretch.
That might be a stretch.
Yeah,
but still, I thought the really cool thing was that maybe it's part of the AI. I'm not sure, but when you're creating an email, the subject line and the body line, it'll give you feedback whether or not you're going to get the maximum impact.
Yeah.
Which, that's lacking from everybody. That's what a great feature.
Yeah. Yeah, but don't trust that, Andy, because because once you lose your domain reputation, MailChimp is not going to be legally liable.
No, they're not going to be liable. No, yeah. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think, I think what's interesting about these solutions, right, and things that people need to be on the lookout for is, again, back to the things we always talk about, right? Understanding what the process flows are that you want to ultimately execute with a tool like this. And where it gets tricky, especially in this space, at least what I've found, is that when you're comparing solution sets, it's back to does this have, a specific feature? Check. But what is required to access that feature in comparison to some of the other tools? Yeah. And, you talked about a couple of specific features that I know are at different price points across some of the competitors that we mentioned. So things like A/B testing, things like dynamic landing pages, things like, AI input and workflows, specific workflows in terms of the layers of customization within those workflows. All of those, depending on what solution we're talking about, come with different price tags based also, by the way, upon how many contacts you are reaching with those specific feature sets. So this, like many things within the ERP, WMS, TMS spaces become complex for a multitude of reasons. This solution set is no different. They just, add on some layers of complexity for a completely different scenario. So just be mindful of that as you're thinking through what you really want it to do, before you go out and ultimately identify the solution that you're most interested in.
But how can you not trust a company named MailChimp? Come on.
They're all like that, Andy. So,
you have to have monkey in there in marketing automation software.
Yeah, I know.
Shrestha, you have comment?
No, I think I'm good. I think Dave and Andy has pretty much covered everything.
Okay, amazing, guys. Any other follow-up comments, guys? No? All right, guys, if you don't have anything else, that's a wrap. If you joined for the first time, this was part of our industry series for which we meet every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys are going to be here next week. We're going to come back with another vendor or the solution. On that note, thanks everyone for tuning in today.
Thanks,
Thank
Sam.
you,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody.
Thanks, everybody.